Y ahora está con nosotros en el estudio Michael Koons. Como saben, él estuvo dando un keynote muy interesante. Ha sido una parte, bueno, vamos a tener una conversación muy buena en la que van a aprender muchísimos temas. Él va a hablar un poco de la tecnología, el negocio y la digitalización, y por eso le vamos a dar la bienvenida. Hi, Michael, how are you?
I'm very well. Thank you for having me.
Congratulations for your keynote.
Thank you very much. It was a lot of fun. It's always fun coming back to Cancun, my 6th time here. And the honor of talking to the team about technology was so much fun.
So when you look at Cisco technology strategy, how is Cisco
Differentiated.
Yeah, exactly. Itself from its competitors.
So first of all, and the key word in your question was technology, right? Because from a business standpoint, there's an awful lot of things, and we've seen here at Cisco Live this week, from a business perspective. On the technical side, it's a few things. Number one, Cisco has always been known for networking. We've always been known for our innovation in the networking space going back 30 years. And that remains. It's different now than it might have been 20 years ago. So for example, now the relationship between software and hardware is one of the key differentiators. Cisco is actually investing in both. So as we hear about all of these examples, this week I've heard about IoT and I've heard about cloud, and I hear about all of the traffic that's going to be generated. Well, that takes a lot of networking power. A lot of that power comes from hardware innovation, developing new chips and silicon and ASICs. But then on the other side, the relationship of the software to the hardware is going to be very important. That's where a lot of our investments are also going. Things like software-defined networking, network function virtualization, and technical things like that will allow customers and communities to take more advantage of the power of what's happening on the network. So the network innovation is number one. Number two, one of the things we're working on very hard, and I would argue it's probably our top priority, is security. That's been a big message at the show. I know I walked by the security booth at the World of Solutions. Everybody is very interested in how I protect my assets in this digital economy that we're talking about. And then lastly, and for Cisco probably most importantly, technology is getting so complicated, and there's so many different areas of technology innovation, and they're very good, and we all have to stay on top of them, but how they work together is probably the most important thing. So from a Cisco differentiation, on top of the innovation that we've already started, we are now working on making sure that the products work together. For example, having a policy that might work across your Wi-Fi network, into your campus, all the way to your data center, so it can work end-to-end is key. And we're very proud of our innovation as well as our differentiation there.
We're talking on these days about augmented reality, blockchains, and artificial intelligence, and a lot of these technology topics. So what's the role of Cisco around it?
So first of all, they're fun. These new technologies, for me, I'm an engineer, they're a lot of fun. And sometimes, because it's a really good question, because sometimes people don't necessarily think of Cisco first, or sometimes people don't think of Cisco at all in some of these technologies. We hear about blockchain in a Bitcoin environment, and FinTech now is investigating and putting money into blockchain. But Cisco has looked at how blockchain is used, and for those who might not know what blockchain is, it's nothing more than a secure way of managing transactions. Okay, they could be banking transactions, they could be real estate transactions, they could be network transactions. And we're looking at how to take that technology and apply it to things like security, IoT, in securing the Internet of Things. So we've been very active with industry forums in IoT around blockchain. The Ethereum group we've been working with and investing in as well. So that's the blockchain investment. It's funny, you had mentioned artificial intelligence, and I think a year or two ago, we would have said, wow, okay, that's something for the future. Well, the future's kind of here, because if you go again into the world of solutions, and I point this way because it's over my shoulder, In the world of solutions, I saw 5 different applications of AI and machine learning in technology environments. For example, Cisco is using AI technologies for our customer support. Something some people don't know is when you call into Cisco's technical support, you usually have a problem. But actually 70% of the calls that come in is just a simple question from a customer. Well, if I can free up an engineer to work on the really hard stuff and then have an artificial intelligence engine answer that question, much easier, right? And it saves money and it makes our engineers more productive. We're also looking at AI technologies for network applications, security, data analytics, and even something as simple as search and finding information. And the last one you mentioned augmented reality and virtual reality. And that's where it gets really cool because there was a demo in the world of solutions where we had people put on their goggles, their AR goggles, or VR goggles, and they could actually participate in a meeting with a Spark board, drawing on the whiteboard, and it's really funny because they have their goggles on and you see somebody doing this and you say, what are they doing with their hands? Well, in their mind, they're drawing on a virtual whiteboard. And then somebody participating in that in a Spark room live sees what they're drawing and they can exchange information. So if you think about how that might work in the future world, it's really, really exciting. So Cisco gets involved in a lot of these future technologies, and things that I might have thought might be 5 years away are actually happening now, and that's really fun.
What about your team? What are you doing to retrain your own workforce of systems engineering organization to address this rapidly shifting in the market?
Yeah, so the questions you had asked before have so much technology dependencies, and it's an evolving market. So just imagine, I had mentioned software-defined networking before. Software-defined networking was a new technology 2 years ago. Now it's a standard technology. That means all of our engineers need to be up to date. They need to understand how it works. Our customers want to know how this technology works. So we end up having a big training dilemma with our team, and we have thousands of people out there in many areas of technology. So we've done a few things. Number one is we've used our existing training materials. Learning at Cisco has been a great partner for us to get foundational level training. There are 2 big areas we have invested in. One is business architecture skills. As you can tell, I'm probably excited. As you could probably tell, I'm excited about the technology. But unless there's a good business reason to use the technology is worthless. So what we make sure we do is educate our engineers to understand the business environment. If you understand the business environment, then you can help customers take advantage and get the advantages of the technology for their business, for monetization, or for saving money. So that is one big area, is these business architecture skills, and then they apply their technical skills to that. The second area we have spent a lot of money on and investments, it goes back to your last question around all these new technologies and things that people don't think about when they think of Cisco. So people don't think of Cisco maybe as a programming company. They think of, I write programs and maybe for my Apple iPhone or maybe for Microsoft, but all this technology now is completely programmable. So we've had to give our engineers programmability skills at the same time so they can write programs to take advantage of all of this technology. It's been a huge investment. It's also been a lot of fun.
And how is Cisco helping its customers in their own digital transformation?
We're taking everything that we've talked about and we're really laying it out for the customers. We're number one, and we were at a session with IT managers earlier, and we had polled them. We said, what is the number one thing you need on your digital journey? The number one answer was simplification. So in all of this complicated technology, we still have to make it easy for our customers to use. So to help our customers on that journey, we're doing 2 major things. One is simplifying it. So even though the technology underneath is complicated, I can still make it very easy to work with. That allows to save me a lot of time and money and take advantage. And then the second thing that we're working on is, like I said before, tying it all together. So a customer doesn't have to go out and understand all of this complexity. It can be done simply and tied together very seamlessly.
this is like the most important question for the people that are watching us here at this streaming. If you could give one advice of people of IT, what would it be?
Ooh.
Or
Only
maybe,
one?
Maybe three.
Can I? Okay.
One,
Thank you.
Three, it's okay.
2 or 3. I'd say absolutely the most important is having a security strategy. And when I say a security strategy, I don't just mean go buy a firewall. I'd be happy if you buy a firewall from Cisco, but it's so much more than that. You have to understand the security landscape, the threat landscape. You have to put an architecture together, and you have to understand that it's so much more than individual point security projects. You have to understand how you will secure your cloud applications. How will you use your network to help secure your infrastructure, and then the policies associated with it. So number one, first and foremost, is security. The second one that I think is extremely important is once I have that, now I have my foundation for digitization, then it's about new skills. Okay, we have to understand what skills I need. Our Cisco skills evolve, just like you had asked me. I think our customer skills will evolve at the same time. I see some customers ahead of us that we need to learn from, and we like that. And then some customers are looking for Cisco to help. So number 2, I would say, is the skills. And then number 3 to me is always keep your business priorities top of mind and be flexible. Okay, we work in an environment where you really have to understand failure is okay. Okay, and that's hard. We work in I walk around Cisco Live, I see so many successful people, and maybe not as failed as much, but in an agile environment, you fail, you learn from it, you move on. So those would be the 3 pieces of advice that I'd offer.
Well, those are great advices. So would you like to share something else to us?
Well, I just say, I hope that people have enjoyed the week. I hope they have learned. We have learned from our customers in the process. We've learned from our partners, and we'll just stay on this journey together. And I look forward to many more years of learning and growing and innovating in new technologies.
Well, Michael, it's always a pleasure talking to you. Y bueno, ustedes ya pusieron atención en los consejos que acaba de dar Michael. Él es Senior Vice President Worldwide Systems Engineer. Son consejos de primera mano, espero que los hayan anotado, y dio un keynote muy interesante que probablemente se verá en línea eventualmente, que lo subamos después. Mientras tanto, nosotros continuamos transmitiendo desde Cancún. Recuerden que estamos en Cisco Live Latinoamérica y es el último día de transmisión. Continuamos.